And I want to talk to you, starting out, about the three types of faith. And I am going to talk to you about a faith in God, but I'm also going to talk to you about having a faith in yourself, and then ultimately how to have a faith in others. And I think this is the stuff that makes for a good life, I think. And so faith, by its very definition, is, good old Webster says, it's the evidence of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. One of my all-time favorite definitions out of Webster's dictionary. It's the evidence of things hoped for and the conviction of things not seen. So I want to say this. In my life, when things don't make sense, when I'm upside down, anxious and stressed, when I don't know, if I think the world's going to heck in a handbasket, if things just don't make sense, or just one strange, bizarre setback after another, for me, when life goes upside down, I turn to my faith in God. That's what I do. And I don't know what other people do. And I know what a lot of people end up doing. Maybe I'm going to, the 2 bottles of wine will take care of it. The 8 glasses of Guinness, maybe the 24 hours on Netflix, or all the other things that people get up to that I don't want to get into. And as our society becomes increasingly secular, where mankind has the answers for everything, I just find that mankind doesn't have a lot of answers for everything that when you really need it. And some people put their faith in government. Some people put their faith in, the daytime talk shows or the latest book that came out. And again, there's a lot of good in all of this stuff. But when life really gets down to it, when I'm really brought to that spot in my own life, where things don't make sense, where I'm struggling with myself, where I'm my own onboard terrorist, when there's been one setback after another and I'm looking for a bit of a break, for me, that's where I go. And, it was interesting. I was also thinking about when the gal said, I'm interested in science and reason. And I was thinking about it because I'm kind of a reasonable person and I really enjoy science. And then I thought, because that's a very common thing today where people think those two are the opposite. Albert Einstein, I think we'd all agree, is a pretty smart cookie. And in our modern world, he'd be considered, an icon for his brilliance and his brain and mathematics and quantum physics and all those things. Well, Einstein's idol, like the guy he looked up to as the greatest of all time. And he said at the end of his life, he understood less than 5% of what Isaac Newton had discovered. That was his hero. And that guy, people always think of gravity and so on and so forth, but Isaac Newton's considered the greatest mathematician, physicist, astronomer, and alchemist in the history of mankind. But what's interesting is Isaac Newton, when you want to know what his profession was, he was a theologian. And that's what he did. That's what he knew. And in studying theology, that's where he came up with all these great discoveries. He was a scientist. Now, I'm not saying, because one of the smartest guys who ever lived believe in God, you should do it. But I'm just saying that when people say that science and reason is outside the realm of faith, it's just a very, very small view of faith. It's viewing faith like a superstition, like a rabbit's foot, like a crutch. And I'm just saying, it's something far deeper to me than that, and for an awful lot of people. And so I just think it's an important thing. Another brilliant mathematician, and I'm really digging deep here, Ludwig Wittgenstein. How about that? And he was, known as one of the greatest mathematicians in recent history. He said, to believe in a God means to see that the facts of the world are not the end of the matter. And that's the deal. And there's a whole bunch of things in this life that don't make sense. And my mother used to say, God only knows. I was just on the phone with her a minute ago. And she's right. And that's where the place of faith comes. And I think, if I'm looking at that, and not just in response to that lady, this is something that's been brewing in me for quite some time, and all the people going through all the difficulties, because I really pour myself into try and help folks. And I would just say, without this little piece, you're missing a big piece. And it would be something to take a good long look at.